Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. And for once, not a rant, but it's one of the films that I liked this year. It's one of the few films that I liked this year because since this year was so shitty, you know. I mean, there's only been like a small handful of films, like a few films that I liked this year, and this one was one of them. So for this review, I'll put I'll put one on the list of one of my favorites of this year, and that is of the 2025 action film Novocaine. And I said it before. One of the films I liked this year was this film. So Novocaine, released in 2025, and this did get positive reviews from critics. It has like an 80% Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, compared to why I've watched it in review, like I would easily watch this over for action. I would definitely watch this over Thunderbolts, or the new Avengers. Fuck that film. Um, I would really easily watch this over Thunderbolts because the cast. I mean, it's not A-list cast. It's not, but I think Jack Quaid. I think he did a good job in this film. Jack Quaid, who is the son of actor Dennis Quaid. I think he did a good job, and funny enough, he also started another film which I also liked. It was a film called Companion. He also starred in that film as well, and I thought he was good in that film as well. So, um, but he also starred in that film, Companion. I also like that film. But Novocaine, the film overall did not do that well. It was on like an $18 million budget, and it made about 19 million in the U.S. and overall worldwide about 34 million. So it didn't overall really didn't do that well. Sad to say, but like I said, there are films that I've enjoyed that didn't do that well, or let alone flop to the box office. Prime example right there. The big one I always have right there, Deep Rising. Right, that film flopped was a big flop, and I love Deep Rising. You know, as I once again I showed you before, I showed you the posters of these right here of Deep Blue Sea. But like I said, I always have that poster right there. I love Deep Rising. Like I said, that was a huge flop, but I love Deep Rising. There are films that I've enjoyed that have flopped. That's why I say they didn't deserve it. But there are films that got positive reviews, like this film. I enjoy this film, or the vice versa. Films that critics have liked, I've liked. Critics that didn't like, I did like still. So, like Mike Harrigan says, from Predator 2, Danny Glover, the door swings both ways. But so the film overall didn't do that well, despite getting praise from critics though. But I think Jack White, I think he did a good job though. As for the other cast, which is to my surprise, because I thought she did pretty good in this film, considering the last film I saw her in, I did not like at all. The character name Sherry, who's the love interest of Jack Quaid, who goes by the name Nathan Kane, aka Novocaine, the nickname he got, but is played by Amber Midthunder. Now she's the one who played Nero from Prey. She was the Indian who fought against the predators in that film Prey. I ranted about that film, how much I hated that film. Okay, and she did not impress me. Doing all this parkour shit. Against these predators. Nothing. No, I didn't. I hated that film. But here, surprisingly, Amber Midthunder, I thought she was pretty decent in this movie. I know, to my surprise, I know. And one of the bad guys, one of the bad guys is played by Ray Nicholson. Now, another son of an actor, which has been a current thing, I mean, Thunderbolts, you have Louis Pullman, who is the son of actor Bill Pullman. Here, you got Jack Quaid, son of actor Dennis Quaid. And here, one of the bad guys is played by, I think one of the main bad guys is played by Ray Nicholson, who is the son of actor Jack Nicholson. Which last time I saw him, he was, he was in Smile 2. He was one of the people that was smiling at the lead girl, Which you can obviously, really quick, you can obviously tell when the way he smiles, you can tell he's related to Jack Nicholson because it's his son, right? Just how the way he smiles, just like all the way how his father would smile like in The Shining, right? Yeah, yep, I could definitely see. Yep, that's definitely Jack Nicholson's son, all right. Yeah, but he plays one of the bad. He plays one of the bad guys in this. One of the main bad guys. One of the bank robbers, you can say. So, but yeah. So overall, cast is decent. And so, but the plot is okay. So we have Nathan Kane, Jack Quaid. He's a guy who suffers. He has a bit. He has like, it's not It's not ability. It's kind of like a medical condition, you could say. He has the ability that he can't feel pain, right? That's why one of the bullies who come in the picture, who nicknamed him Novocaine, because he can't feel pain. So it's in San Diego, and he works at a credit union. His coworker, which is Sherry, that is Amber Midthunder, really likes her, and so, and it does go to show that Nathan is he's a very decent guy, because there's this old guy that what was it, what was he like behind his morgue or something. It was something like that, and it shows what a decent guy he is, because he's like, you know what, the holidays are coming. Let me hide this paper until it's over. Then we'll figure something out, right? Like that, right? It shows that he's a very decent guy. He's willing to help this old guy out, right? Just by give him some more time. So it shows his character. Okay, his character is a very decent guy. And then when they go to a bar, a bully who, what was it, from middle school? He's the one who nicknamed him Novocaine. And so I do like the idea that gets the idea where the girlfriend Sherry, she tricks the bully, where him and Nathan, they're gonna take a shot, right, and take like a shot of hot sauce, and say who can handle it, who can handle the hotness, right? Since Jack does not feel pain, Jack Quaid does not feel pain. Of course, the guy loses, which I thought was kind of a funny thing, right? And so after that, then it's Chris. It takes place during Christmas, because it's Christmas Eve. So, but then there's these bank robbers by Ray Nicholson. They're dressed in Santa suits, and they kill Jack Quaid's boss, and they take Sherry, Amber Midthunder. They take her as a hostage. And so he goes after them. So after all that, that's when the film takes off, right? It goes forward with this action. Now, it's not overall wall-to-wall action. It's not John Wick style action. So if you're not gonna go into this for like style like fight scenes like John Wick style, it's not that, right? But there is some pretty brutal beatings in this. I will give it that, though. Some good gory moments. Now, a few gory moments, not overall over the top gory. No, it's not. But there is some cringe. There is some moments that made me go ooh, like that. So he steals a police car, and there are two cops in this. One of them I recognize. One of them is Matt Walsh. I know I've seen him in quite a other films. And the other one is a female cop, played by Betty Gabriel. She was the one in Get Out. She was supposedly one of the people who works with the Armitage family, right? The woman, but it turns out that's the grandmother in another body, right? When Rose says, well, grandpa, but the grandmother in another body, right? The woman who has like, was kind of like struggling, like smile but crying. And then after when she leaves, that's when Daniel Kaluuya goes and says, "Oh, this bitch is crazy." That's her. She was also in the Purge election year as well. So but yeah, so okay, yeah, that's her from Get Out and Purge 3. She's his other cop. And so and they and you get the scene where one of the listeners where they get this you get the scene he saw in the trailer, like in the kitchen, where he's being thrown around, right, and hit and all this other stuff with the kitchen utensils, right, because he's not feeling anything. Although there is now this is not going into realism, of course, though, right? But there is a part of me is like when there's certain ways how he gets hit, I'm like, he should be dead though, right? I know he doesn't feel pain though, but in moments, in a couple of scenarios, he should have been dead, right? I'm like, is he like a living zombie, right? Is it like that the TV show the TV show was called Zombie, right? Where the woman who was literally was a zombie working at a coroner's office or whatever. But I'm like, is he has to be. I know he doesn't feel pain, but is it like there are moments where he should have been dead though. But you get the whole thing where he's he's being bounced around, where all the kitchen stuff, right? It was almost kind of like this, where all like all the stuff like, but it's in the kitchen scene, right? Now, this guy isn't. Now, despite the fact he can't feel pain, but this guy is not a John Wick type of guy. He's just basically kind of like an ordinary guy, but he's using his ability of immune to pain to his advantage, stuff like that, right? So he does shoot one of the robbers, and I also like the fact also he one of the robber's gun goes into like the deep fryer, right? And this guy gave me a little cringing scene because he says he doesn't feel pain. He sticks his hand inside the burning fryer oil to get the gun. And I'm like, oh, because when I work, get hit with a little bit of the hot oil all the time while I'm putting stuff in the fryer too, right? But just sticking his whole hand, it's like, oh, or kind of remind like that scene in Sudden Death, right? Where Van Damme is fighting the woman in the penguin suit, and she sticks her hand in the he sticks her hand in the fryer, and you see the result of her hand being so messed up and burned. That does kind of give me a cringe thing. But when he sticks his hand because he can't feel anything to get the gun, I'm like, oh, But then it was when he notices the tattoo, and so he has a friend who is who plays video games, and now this guy who's his friend who plays video games, he's the guy who is Jacob Batalon. He's a guy from the MCU Spider-Man movies. He's the guy who plays Ned. Peter Parker's his best friend, right? Ned. He's in this. Now, he's not horrible though, but I'm like, oh, this guy, right? That's why I feel like this guy. I was like, oh man, this guy, right? But I mean, I get enough of him from the Spider-Man movies, but it's just like, that's my reaction when I first see him. I was like, I mean, I'm not saying this like he's not bad or anything. I'm just like, can we get like a different person, right? That type of feeling. So with him, well, because they play on games online, so they never met in person. So that's the first time meeting face to face. But he manages to get the address, and I really like he goes to that one robber guy, the one he killed, right, to his home, and then he realized that the whole house has been booby trapped, right, and that's where we get the scene right here, where he's caught upside down, and it turns out the guy's brother, the robber. The guy's brother comes in and he starts to torture him. And I love the fact that where he starts whether he starts to taking out his fingernails, it's like oh, that's another maybe cringe, right? It's like, oh, just taking off the fingernails. Oh. Although I do find it funny though, like I think that could have been really funny if he was pretending to feel pain, right? I think that could have been a lot more funnier because he's peeling off and he's not feeling anything. I think it would have been funnier if he was like pretending it's like, oh no, please stop, please. I think that could have been funnier though, to me though. And so after that, but he does manage to kill the guy. And so as he goes off, then he goes and finds Sherry and Ray Nicholson. They're at the auto shop, and so it turns out that Amber Midthunder is Ray Nicholson's sister, and she was also an accomplice during the heist. So she knew about it though. So being taken like a hostage, it was all just a facade basically. So she was a part of this the whole time. She was a part of it the whole time, and so. But eventually she, since she liked him, but she was really she didn't know that she was gonna murder their boss though. So, but she goes says, hey, don't kill him though. And then she goes to she shoots the two cops, Matt Walsh and Betty Gabriel comes in. Matt Walsh is shot though, but Betty Gabriel is wounded though. So they get in the ambulance. Amber Midthunder she gets free, and so then as well Jacob Batalon drives to the wounded cop Betty Gabriel to the hospital. And then after that though, like because of that she gets arrested because she's been arrested because of her crime, but Nathan waits. So, and also I do like the fact though, I forgot to mention there was another brutal scene. Like I think it was the guy who was the brother of the other robber, right? He punches there's broken glass. And he's punching the broken glass, Jack Quaid. And the guy is like, "What? What is he doing? What are you doing?" Says he can't feel pain. Like I said, he says he can't feel pain. He has all this broken shards in his hands. And I do like the fact, I like the idea he uses it to punch the guy. Cut the guy's face up. And I'm like, oh. I think when I cut like the guy's eyes, I think also as well. So you do get some pretty good, gory, brutal moments in this. Like I said, with the fryer, or with the nails being pulled out, or even where the point where even towards the end, right? Even though the glass scene though was also brutal, with just punching the guy with the broken shards in his hands. But with Ray Nicholson, the whole thing with the ambulance, Ray Nicholson breaks Jack Quaid's arm. He breaks his arm. His hand is kind of like this, but the bone is sticking out like this way. The hand is like this. The bone is sticking like this. And I do like the fact that he uses his own bone in his arm and jams it right up to Ray Nicholson's neck, like so. I'm like, damn, I do like that idea where he sticks his own bone and jams it right into Ray Nicholson's neck, like through the chin. And I'm like, ooh. So yeah, that was also pretty brutal scene though. And so after that, they go. Well, they're supposed to have their supposedly date, but she's still in the prison though. So as she's having a cherry pie, they both have a cherry pie as she's getting going back to her cell though. But she's close to having her sentence done. I think she got like yeah, I think it was like 6 months. Yeah, it was like 6 months. So it's close to her being she's been almost being let go though. And then and she's going back to her cell. That's when Jack is like eating the rest of the cherry pie and he's smiling, right? So overall, yeah, I did enjoy this. It did. That's why I put this as one of my favorite films of this year. Will be in my top 3 so far. It is because there's only been a few films. Like I said, I like Companion, and there was also that Looney Tunes movie I like, The Day the Earth Blew Up. That was also I like that film. And there's another film which I really enjoy. I would probably say is my favorite film of this year, but that's gonna be on the next review though. But I think that was a really good film. But this will probably be so far. It's in my top 3 for now, because like I said, given how shitty this year has been, there's only been a few films I thought was worthy to be put on the list. I'm like, the one film is coming up next, and then you have this film, then you got Companion for me, the Looney Tunes movie. Oh, and Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes, that's a horror, to me, the best horror film I've seen this year. Because another horror films have been crap, you know. Hard Eyes. So that's 5. Yeah, I think that's 5. Yeah, so far, yeah, only 5 films I've liked so far this year. That's how bad this year has been. Because there's been so many bad films I've seen this year. That's been absolute. What I say in British terms, absolute bollocks. That's how you say that in British, you know, bollocks. But yeah, it's been a very shitty year. I mean, so many shitty films I've seen this year. It's one of the at least it's been one of the worst years I've seen in a long time. But this film I enjoyed though. Now, like I said, it's not John Wick style action. It's not. But I do like the idea of the guy who can't feel pain. You know, he's using that ability to his advantage. Like he sticks his hand in the fryer. That was a cringy little scene. Or I like the use he uses like his like he punches the broken shards of glass, sticks it in his hands to punch the guy to cut the guy's face up. Or like I said, taking his own broken bone that's out of his arm and jams it right to Ray Nicholson's neck. That was a brutal scene. So you did get a couple of brutal, gory moments in this. So it looks like a lot of it was practical, which I do appreciate. Of course, CG enhancements as well, because everything has to be CG. But at least they still do practical stuff, you know. So doing things practical is not gone entirely, you know. And I think Jack Quaid, I think he did a good job as Nathan Kane. I think he did a good job. Amber, Midthunder, I think she did pretty good in this film compared to why I saw her last in Prey. But here she was fine. I give props to her. I do. If I were lying, I'd be lying. And Ray Nicholson, I thought he was a decent bad guy. Jacob Batalon, I mean, could have been someone else though, but he wasn't. He was okay, but I'm just like, him. So, but I do like, you know, some of the stuff like how it takes the whole thing. We start feeling pain. We're in the kitchen scene where he's bouncing up and down. Well, it does feel kind of cartoony when he's being thrown around, bouncing up and down, you know, like that stuff, right? It does feel cartoony though, but there's some of those ideas I did like about the movie though. So yeah, so Novocaine I enjoyed. I think the directors did a good job. Who are the directors? Dan Berk and Robert Olsen. I thought they did fine as well for this film, and it is R-rated, so it wasn't PG-13, which I'm tired nowadays of stuff like that being PG-13. So I do appreciate the R-rated for the brutality, because otherwise, if it's PG-13, it would have been toned down. So I do appreciate the R rating for this. So, but yeah, so Novocaine I enjoyed. It is definitely one of my favorite films this year. Nice change of pace for our, but what I consider the stuff I've been ranting on for during this year, for the wherever it came out this year, you know. So, but there's gonna be another movie that's gonna be up next, and that I really did enjoy though. Although it may consider controversy given the actor who stars in it though, but I'll get into that though. But overall, Novocaine, I give it a thumbs up, you know, for what it is. Considering what I've watched this year, consider this is one of the few favorite films I like this year. This is why I give it a thumbs up for. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time. Later.